let's not forget just how ridiculously tanky Carl gets as well. Considered to many to be like a mid-range brawler. The guy's very durable, and when you're able to sort of jump in there with tailspin and actually have that shielding, it is very, very hard to deal with. So they don't round out the composition the way you maybe expect. Instead, it's a stew here. What do you think Team Wood are going for with this last pick?
I'm anticipating Stu is going to be here for wall break and probably trying to outrun any sort of tank that's on Rising Sun side. Keep in mind, I've said time and time again that we are deeply into a tank meta, and tanks as a last pick are going to be a huge, huge upper hand. M's the last selection from Rising Sun SEA. Gotta say, not exactly my favorite, since there are not really tanks on Team Wood that are going to be super vulnerable to that. Response can always just use that flying hook in, tailspin afterwards. Sure, you can get stunned by CZK, but as long as you're in close range, and especially since Carl has a lot of health, I don't think it'll be an issue, especially with Hiroshi at the side. However, if you look at the synergy between Max and Ems, I think now we start to get a better idea of what Rising Sun SEA have in store.
Right. I mean, you're talking about friend Zona, right? Of course, Ems' ability, to pop the gadget and just sort of push away whoever's trying to sort of get there, because that's what Team Wood are looking for here. There's a lot of all-in going on, plus an extra healing from Poco means that, the effective HP of these brawlers is much higher than is actually indicated. Response almost gets caught out there a little bit, but CCK and Bear are very low and they're very susceptible here to Response making the charge in. That's very quickly 5 stars handed over, blue included, and Team Wood now can set up here in the middle of the map.
It's a free blue star. It's the massive movement ability by Response that lead Team Wood to take this early game advantage. Response also on the right side. Far away from Bear, he can keep his distance from these enemies at all times. Bear finally gets a super and now clears out that left side on Hiroshi. He will be able to circle around this right side. CZK and Troya desperately need his help, though, and they need that speed to make big plays. Response gets caught up in it, but he does get healed. Here comes the tailspin. Hiroshi now with the elimination. Troya and CZK remain alive. Response down on the left side still. Team Wood in the lead. Great elimination as well with the screeching solo. Bear charges forward with the phase shifter, and Rising Sun SEA, they take control of the right side, and they take control of this game's pacing.
I mean, neither of these teams are playing sharpshooters, long-range brawlers, so at some point, they both have to engage. Ems really needs to try and, get up a little bit closer, at least, to her opponents to get value, of course, out of her abilities here. We know what Carl wants to do. So both teams really wanted to fight over the blue star. They really wanted to start at an advantage and actually, not have to be the aggressor. But that turret, that penny turret is doing a ton of work, because even if somehow Response got out at the end of that last fight, especially with the Poco heal, it wasn't enough. He eventually falls again to the incendiary field from that. Look at the footwork here, though. CCK falls as Response stays alive again.
Super flashy plays on the right side. Response, he knew exactly what he was going into, a 1v2, and still managed to get a kill. CZK and Troya, though, now they got backup. CZK marching forward right into the clutches of the screeching solo. Troya tries to get him healing on the Prime. It's his really last lifeline to get this one back, but Team Wood, they pick up 2 kills on the left side. Now a final one onto Troya, and it's looking good for Team Wood.
Yeah, that was a fantastic start, I think, to this set. Now you got a good idea of what both these teams are trying to do. Turns out the game plan is actually pretty darn similar. It's get the engagement, try and at least isolate an individual brawler. Many times we saw Rising Sun trying to focus down on Response and get the stew out of the picture early on here. This is exciting stuff. Very skill-based matchup here.
Certainly so, and it seems like both teams are willingly putting themselves in this position, especially Response on the right side. He knows he's getting up close and personal in a 1v3, but he does finally have to pay the price. Prime also in very close quarters will be able to get a kill, especially with Hiroshi at his side. Another elim from Hiroshi too, and Team Wood are looking fantastic, even though they've made incredibly risky plays so far.
Hiroshi ready to go on in with that super there. Flying hook could be pretty scary. There's big engage potential. And of course, protective pirouette means even with the healing of the Poco on your side, it's very, very hard to blow you up while you're busy trying to do what you do best. Screeching solo picks off another one. Nasty stuff from Prime.
Seriously aggressive play from Rising Sun SEA, and it's just feeding those Poco supers. They know that this is coming, but they're willing to take the risk because they got to get in close quarters to engage. Response on the left side, dashing forward, 1, 2, 3, supers charged up. CZK looks for the kill, and he keeps on healing with the use of hype. Great use of the star power allows him to get that kill in Response. Now speed on the right side. Hiroshi and Prime, they got to run for the hills, but they're staying around. They're going down with the ship, especially Prime as he falls, and Hiroshi in Response left to pick pieces as they now sort of re-engage on the left side. Response falls in the aftermath. Team Wood, they still have the advantage, but this has been one win after the next by Rising Sun SEA. It's pushed Team Wood all the way back into their spawn.
Yeah, scary stuff against the Penny. You talked about it earlier on here. The turret is going to continually get put further and further up the map here. Hiroshi has to try and go and make the play. CZK is able to friend zone him back. And the Carl is down. Now it's a comfortable lead for Rising Sun SEA.
Still can't be taken back by Team Wood. Response charging into the mayhem on the left side. Ends up having to pay the price. Here comes the gadget in. Hiroshi. Big damage, but he's no match for the combo of Bear and CZK. Team Wood, there's just no recourse from at this point. No combination of kills or sort of assortment of positioning can bring that one back. It has been a super, super even match so far. Just one game apiece on this matchup, and I'm loving it. Though, one thing I want to point out is just how aggressive these teams have been playing so far. It's not like anything that I've ever seen before. Typically, you see this kind of stuff when you have tanks on your team. But no, Stu still charging right into the enemy team, trying to pick up some kills despite only having 4K health. I love watching it, but it's definitely different from what I've seen in the past.
Response has been punished a couple of times by that hype friend zone combo there from CZK. So this time he's playing a little bit more safe, and it pays off. Pays off in a big way. 5 stars already handed over here to Team Wood to start things off. Now they'll send Response a little bit more aggressively forward here. But again, you try and take too much space and you're going to get caught up inside the choking gases from the M. So Response now really respecting CZK a little more after those last couple of rounds.
Certainly so, keeping the distance. Here comes Hiroshi on the left side, though. Tailspin, but Troy is still able to get the takedown. Response now with the wall break as well. They'll be able to spawn camp Rising Sun a bit better with some of the walls broken down. Prime's still going to have a good time as soon as he gets that super fired up. Screeching Solo gets you that damage through walls and can be enough for the takedown. He's done it once, and he'll try and do it against CZK and Bear, both on very low health. They're keeping their distance. A lot more footsies this time with players keeping their distance from each other, trying not to feed those supers, and especially Team Wood keeping their distance from that turret. Hiroshi's going to work on it. But Bear and Troy pushing him back gradually. Prime now coming in for the assist, trying his best to hunker down in this position as they're 5 stars in the lead, and the clock continues to tick down below 40.
Yeah, this is much more measured play from Team Wood, right? I think that's sort of what you were going for here, because it looks like they want to force an overextension here from Rising Sun SEA. No supers right now on Rising Sun. So no ability to really make use of those. Response, okay, tries to charge through the barrier there with that gadget use. CZK is wise to it. Those going to back away. Super now is up for that M's over there. So dangerous for Response to try and take the 1 versus 1. Troy wants to try and push it in a bit aggressively as well. Hiroshi, though, is going to get cut down. So much damage, and Bear comes in for the finish off here. Still a lead for Team Wood, though, because Response is able to do work on this left-hand side. It's 7 stars for Team Wood. They're in front for now. Prime, though, needs to be careful. Dodges a turret shot, and there's 3 seconds left. It looks like Rising Sun are not going to be able to close the gap. A very tight finish here, but it is, of course, going to be Team Wood to take away the set.
That final interaction, in fact, it was like a series of at least a dozen interactions, had me on the edge of my seat. 20 seconds and all the action packed into that time. We saw very, very close interactions between Rising Sun and Team Wood, especially Rising Sun just really a single bullet away from bringing back the pace of the game into their own hands and running it back with the victory, taking a set for themselves. It has been so many times, in my opinion, that we've seen these players take really big risks and really big chances. Just in the end, Team Wood, they come out on top.
Yeah, it feels like as well. I mean, you mentioned it multiple times, right? But playing against the Penny means you can't give up too much space. If you have a star lead, you're almost baited into sort of remaining aggressive lest you sort of get, pushed back into a corner of the map, even with a star lead, which is kind of what happened there, of course, towards the end of the round. But having the Poco there as well, being able to heal with that super, pretty critical, especially in lieu of DeCapo being brought on board. We saw Screeching Solo is really able to give you the fact that it penetrates through those walls means you can secure key stars when your opponents otherwise think they might be safe in some cases there. The interactions between some of the brawlers specifically were great. I think CZK and Response
across this map, it's unique in the sense that there's this canal in the middle, of course, where the name stems from. But Eve and Carl, of course, 2 of the only brawlers that can actually manage to get across that at a moment's notice. It's something that Brock might be able to do, but Penny, of course, and many other brawlers aren't going to have that option. They're going to be trapped on one side or the other.
But again, if Trishant gets like a solo lane, maybe they play the left-hand side of the map and it's like it's like a 1-2 setup, right? If Trishant's opponent doesn't come out and fight them, he can just go to the right side of the map and make it a 3 versus 2. Like, this is why Eve has been so strong in this series so far, right? Bridge Too Far, great example of that. Is if you don't demand the Eve's attention, just leave. Just go somewhere else and again, create a numbers advantage for your team over there, which is already going to be scary because the Poco and the Carl so durable here. And we see the Colette picked up here. Now, I am curious about this because, there's a lot of healing here, right? But, Carl is tanky, Protective Hero as well, like, make no mistake. But How do you feel about the Colette now coming out here in a situation where you don't have a super that gives you free safe damage in like a heist game mode, and your opponents aren't that tanky, right?
Yeah, it's not that frequent that you see Colette, but it is a hard counter into the Carl. Traditionally, this is going to be one of the better ways to deal with him. Surge, another one that historically shows up with this map, also does that. But Colette doesn't show up a lot here. It's going to work so far, though. There's the wall break gadget, too, that we were waiting to see. Naruto popping off there for his teammates, and now they establish this penny turret. They are going to be able to do a lot of work here, picking up another kill on this right-hand side. There's that Colette-Carl matchup we were looking for. There's going to be a huge comeback here for Revenant if they want a chance.
This is the disastrous start here right now for Revenant. It's gone all wrong. The rocket fuel blowing open the left-hand side of the map just lends itself, I think, to the long-range playstyle that grindizers want to go for. Revenant cannot match them in that regard. And now having the Eve that can traverse these bodies of water is great, but she is outranged in this middle part of the map, and there's not really any cover for her here.
Yeah, and additionally, it's just going to take a lot here for Poco. I mean, he does have the screeching here, maybe, and it's going to be a takedown there. 6-13, still a lot to come back from in the meantime. It looks like he is actually running the heals. Very interesting choice here is Eve, of course, not being somebody with a lot of HP. Carl on a bulkier side, like you mentioned earlier, too. I don't know, this is just such an interesting dynamic that we've got going. A nice connection there from KH, though. The lead continues. Sargent trying to make something of it. Now a super going in as well. There's one pickup. This lead only 5 stars now, but Sargent going to be trapped on this side. Is he willing to go down here? Somehow he's staying up, tries to get out, but a nice pickup there. 4 stars being the difference now.
I mean, the fact that Sargent gets a trade on that final elimination is absolutely ridiculous. So, you know, an effective value of +1 elimination there, and all the stars that come with that is big. 4 stars now separate these teams, and now the net starts to close. Trashan has to use that super to keep Sargent standing, but it works out. Revenant want to put some pressure down, but they still have to cross these wide sight lines that favors KH and Co. And there it is again. Time to collect comes in, and Sargent is at arm's length. Push it going to be used to get him out of the way. And grindizers have a pretty nasty composition. Revenant are going to have to do a little bit more than just running it back to get the better of them here.
Yeah, definitely got to have a better start here. One of the advantages, especially with having Carl, is you should be able to just dive for that blue star instantly, throw out that flying hook gadget, and that's a big appeal for why Carl shows up so much here. And, you know, another thing is, too, when he's got all these walls to maneuver around, get those quick shots in and out, of course, it treats it like a boomerang, right? Comes forward, then it comes immediately back, and when Sargent doesn't have as many walls, well, it's a little bit harder to do that. He's going to have to find situations where he can get up close and personal with that Brock, a very squishy brawler. That's where Carl shines the most.
Naruto, they're getting a bit of a licking from Sargent, and there it is. Great shots here from Sargent Clash, now able to really stamp his authority on this middle part of the map. And Shafin, I mean, getting that kill on KH is absolutely huge, really mostly intended more to be a nuisance than anything else now. Shafin able to just deploy the super at the back part of the map and start to take some more space. Naruto is in trouble again. Oof. This is that collapse that we talked about. Revenant, I guess it was enough to just run it back.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit of a reroll here. Complete opposite of what we saw in game number 1. There's the first pickup for him, though. Naruto taking down Trashant here. Sargent, Shafin, each with 4 stars as well. Couple pickups. This could turn around, but they're going to need to really start moving up this map. Try and get into a spawn trap situation, especially in Canal Grande. That's where things get really difficult. Of course, Eve and Carl, like we mentioned in the draft, have options to kind of deal with this. This is a map where there's really no traditional mid. It's kind of either left or right-hand side, but in this case, they can be a little more unique.
Okay, nice gadget use there from Shafin. He has the blue star, and it would just make things a little bit closer if they'd gone down there. So nice turnaround here, Trashant. Yes, able to go towards Luai. A bit of an overextension by grindizers, sort of chance to get back into the game. That door's been shut on them now. 34 seconds left in the round. Sargent wants to try and push up, but he's holding 6 valuable stars here. But it doesn't matter. Shafin and Sargent, they collapse the pincer onto Naruto. Luai takes a ton of damage as well from the Poco. Deceptively nasty when those shots start connecting. And Sargent's ready for another dive in. Here it comes, the tailspin, but it's going to be counted.
21-8, 15 seconds to go, and I don't even know if mathematically they can make the comeback here. Naruto with the super, Trashant moving it back, Shafin with plenty of stars to work with, and I don't think it's going to matter too much. We're going to have a match point incoming here. Revenant Esports with an opportunity to take this one home.
So what's the biggest difference there for Revenant, of course, in the way they, obviously the round starts better for them, but can you tell us like what adaptation they make to get such a different result here in that second round?
Look, Canal Grande, as much as it is about getting all these kills, the start is what really matters. Sergeant, interestingly enough, going to dive to this right-hand side. Once you give up control, it's all about positioning on this map. And if they go up early in terms of numbers, it's really nice for them because they can just kind of hold the line. But in this case, they're actually forced back a little bit. 2-1, first pickup of a kill going to that red side. And again, map control is a huge factor here. You want to get the kills, but it's sometimes all about that timing too.
Salty Barrel coming down a little bit too late from the wide there. The collapse from Sergeant was maybe a little telegraphed, but there was not enough time for the Penny to get away. They pushed her right into the end of the map, and this is scary now for Grindizers. They've been corralled into this right-hand corner. Naruto barely hanging on here. Super from Trishant. Loay, yep, gonna go down. Turret deployed, and that's gonna get picked off instantly. Revenant with a 6-star lead here.
Yeah, and it's going to be a toughie as well. There's the rocket rain coming down from the skies from Brock. All three brawlers sitting on this right-hand lane right now. Sergeant needs to be careful. Colette's not an easy matchup for him. He does have the super, and there's the shield to help him out too, but a pushback Sergeant clutches up the kill, and now Trishant coming into the rescue, trying to get Sergeant out of this situation. A gadget through from both Trishant and Sergeant. Going to keep him plenty healthy here. A super being rotated in as well. Beautiful stuff coming in here from Revenant, but a nice connection as well. Trades on both sides. 12-5 with less than a minute to go.
Yeah, enough of a lead here for Revenant, though, to sit back, maybe give up a little bit of map control. Trishant cut off for the rest of their teammates for the time being here, and Sergeant's going deep. 5 stars on this. Oh, I love that from Carl. He's almost preemptive. The tailspin there, knew that at some point Collect would come and try to collect, and he's able to pick her off as she does. Yeah, I mean, Trishant goes down there, but only holding 2 stars. Not a big deal. It is a huge lead right now. Sergeant, of course, with 7 to his name. With him with a blue star here, and almost no options for Grindizers.
Yeah, it's 16-10 though. There's still a little hope, but they have to get to Sergeant. Final moments here. It's going to be tested. 4 stars being the difference maker. A kill onto Sergeant will do the trick. He's going to be weak here. Close call, but going to end up staying alive. Trishant clutching the kill. And of course, this team claiming the first grand finals of this new sub-region. Congratulations to Revenant. 3-0. They didn't drop a single set this entire bracket.
Again, a series that definitely had its moments of competition, right? Grindizers got off the starter's block a little bit too slow. The first set wasn't great. The second set, they're starting to adapt. They're starting to wake up. Before they realize it, they're looking down the wrong end of match point here. Revenant started strong, and they finish in the same way. And again, these compositions, these picks are a lot of fun here. You know, Sergeant, again, once more being the centerpiece, being the initiator, being the one who sets the tempo for the rest of his teams, and they follow him really effectively. The real clutch moments there, the interaction, of course, between the Colette and the Carl in many occasions can feel a little volatile, right? Like, who's going to actually get the kill? She's using super, he's using super at the same time. They both have some degree of shielding from that as well. Always exciting to watch it. But again, Sergeant with another fantastic map, a great showing, a very well-deserved victory here for this Revenant side. Will round out the composition.
This is an interesting strategy from Crazy Raccoon. It's not like really anything I've seen before, but it completely makes sense. I mean, these are all brawlers that the respective members of this team are comfortable on. Love the Sprout last pick. I think that this is absolutely brilliant. However, there's one important thing you're missing at Choppy, which is that Moya, he gets the wall break, and Shitetampo can land right on top of you. Tensai, yeah, I can hit you through walls, but he's kind of the least of your worries. I still think that Sprout is going to be a good brawler utility-wise. As far as, locking on those kills, also a great selection. But Crazy Raccoon have 2 ways to deal with this already, and I do question it just a little bit. I think that Guts went into this set already wanting to pick that Sprout, and the last pick is just where they decided to place it. It wasn't really a reactive thing, but this is also sort of a theme for this region at times. They play what they want to play, and then make it work at times. For Minmi, though, he's got to be careful about not giving those supers to Moya or to Tensai, lest he wants to be landed upon or have his walls broken down.
Photosynthesis keeping Memney in the fight a little bit longer than it otherwise would have, but he's taking a lot of incidental, a lot of poke damage here from Shitetampo and Moya. Tensai has to back away here, but Levi falls right into the trap, and Moya causes him to disintegrate. That's the start of the Crazy Raccoon we're looking for. 3 stars, blue star, of course, being picked up by Tensai earlier on. Now let's see how they ease into the mid-rounds.
I'm not sure whether I should be surprised that Levi decided to go for that play there, because he knows that Moya is going to be running those sandbags, but Moya, he was being so patient with placing them down that it almost appeared in an illusory sort of way that he was open and ready for Levi to take him down, but it was the complete opposite. And Levi could find himself in danger's path once again, take down, but Tensai also falls in turn. Minmi was barely alive, and Shitetampo's trying to close things in. That hedge from Sprout is still blocking things off for a little bit longer. They'll be engaging the left side for now, but Minmi is still sensing a prime opportunity to farm up yet another super, maybe block up mid just like he did last time.
The hedge from Menmi may be pretty annoying here to deal with. As Crazy Raccoon don't have any throwers, so yeah, they have some wall break like you mentioned, but when those abilities are exhausted, there's actually no way to get over it or get around it. So Menmi can create a safe zone for themselves while doing exactly this, like just pressuring down a lot of this damage over the walls. Nice couple shots from Shitampo though, forces Menmi back, but you can see the trap is starting to close. Guts are circling. They know they need 2 stars here to get the win. We've got 15 seconds left in the round. Will Achapi's magic hand be the difference maker?
It has to be. Here it is. Tensai's not able to react in time. Clock ticking down. Guts, they're in the lead. But Minmi is left all alone on the right side. Tensai flying out of spawn, trying to make it there. Will he land in time? Damage flying in. No, not quite enough. A bomb. It wasn't enough to seal the deal. And that's a victory for Guts. They're not going to match point just yet.
Yeah, I love that. We saw Tensai try to drop a base booster to sort of anticipate the magic hand coming in. And I love it because we just saw the Gene player hold onto it, and then throw it out after the base booster was destroyed. So lovely stuff from Achapi there. Really brilliant. Someone who's had some really difficult lane matchups in this series so far and has been hurting going up against some stronger brawlers. Now gets to really show his stuff. And this is what happened when you let Gene through.
Absolutely, and especially if you don't have that turret at the ready. And even then, Guts, they're going to be ready with a lot of damage following that super, just in case a turret gets thrown up as a reaction. And it was a fantastic mind game played there by Achapi. This time, Guts, they have the upper hand. Not only have they gotten the blue star, they've gotten the first kill of the game. Levi, he's also breaking open some of the walls. Not entirely sure. It looks like he sensed the ability to go for a kill, but it also means that Minmi's going to be lacking some walls going forward. Not the biggest issue either, though, as Minmi has a lot of range to use here. Stetampo on super low health. Levi's going to go for it and not even taken down from the final shot from Tensai. Achapi on the right side also has a super. Here it comes. Tensai pulled, yanked forward, in 7-star lead for Guts.
Yeah, I really feel like this is one and lost heavily in the draft, right? Getting the Sprout last pick here is pretty sick against a non-thrower team, and being able to get Gene that comes in through the ban phase is awesome. Crazy Raccoon here feels like they have a lot of options. Now the map's opened up a little bit, right? So Shitampo will be able to find more purchase with a lot more of these shots, but 34 seconds remaining. They need to box Crazy Raccoon up here, and they can sneak a lead, but it's going to be clean.
Well, so far they've succeeded a little bit. Left side looked good for Tensai. They got to box him in a bit more, though. Achapi has a super. Tensai, does he have a gadget? Yes, he does, but he's got to react in time. And Achapi continues to chip him down. Has it super at the ready. He's got to pull towards Levi because Minmi's not the greatest in close range. He's got to get someone on low health as well. He's completely cornered on the left side. Guts, they still are in the lead, but Achapi could fall. Few seconds left. Tensai now flying away, looking for the kill on Minmi's on very low health. Minmi's got to bounce some of these shots. Here's another use of the hedge as he recycles it in Guts. They manage to do it. They take a set back. We're going into